Most people think eating more cheese keeps their bones and muscles strong after 60, but that belief could actually be making you weaker. Because what's hidden inside many dairy foods can quietly drain your strength instead of restoring it. After 60, your body changes. Digestion slows, enzymes drop, and calcium doesn't absorb the same way it did in your 40s. According to Harvard and Mayo Clinic research, it's not the calcium in cheese that keeps you strong, it's the quality of protein and minerals your aging cells can actually use. In this video, you'll discover the surprising food that outperforms cheese for lasting strength and energy, and one shocks almost everyone over 60. Comment yes if you want more videos like this. Many adults over 60 start noticing something subtle. Tasks that once felt light, like climbing stairs, carrying groceries, or even rising from a chair, suddenly take more effort. It's not always pain. It's not always fatigue. It's that quiet, creeping weakness that seems to come from nowhere. And the most confusing part, many of these same people eat well. They start the day with yogurt, sprinkle cheese on salads, and even add a glass of milk before bed. Yet their strength keeps slipping away. Here's why this happens, and why it's not your fault. As we age, our bodies slowly lose the ability to process and use protein the same way we did decades ago. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. It means that even if you eat enough protein, your muscles may not absorb or rebuild as efficiently as before. Now add in slower digestion, fewer enzymes, and often a mix of medications, and suddenly, the nutrients in that healthy cheese don't reach your muscles the way you expect. A study from the National Institutes of Health explains that muscle loss known as sarcopenia begins as early as our 50s and accelerates every decade afterward. It's not just about muscles looking smaller. It's about losing the strength that keeps you balanced, independent, and confident. Think about Margaret, a 68-year-old retired teacher. She eats 3 balanced meals a day, stays active, and never misses her calcium-rich cheese snack. But over the years, she's noticed that her legs feel weaker when climbing stairs. Her doctor says her diet is fine, yet her body feels anything but fine. What's happening to Margaret is what happens to millions of seniors. The body's machinery for building and repairing tissue slows down. Cheese gives calcium, yes, but it lacks certain amino acids and minerals that aging cells rely on for muscle repair and energy. And that's where the hidden gap lies. So before you reach for another slice of cheese, ask yourself, is this really the fuel my 60-plus body needs to stay strong? Because the truth is, what worked in your 30s might not work the same way today. In the next section, we'll uncover why cheese, the very food most people trust for strength, may not be the magic solution you think it is. For decades, most of us have believed that cheese is one of the best foods for bones and muscles. It's rich in calcium, full of protein, and feels satisfying and wholesome, especially for older adults trying to stay strong. But here's the surprising truth. While cheese sounds perfect on paper, it may quietly be holding you back after 60. Let's start with what really happens inside the body. As you age, your metabolism slows, and the digestive enzymes that once worked efficiently begin to fade. That means the same slice of cheese that nourished you at 30 might now feel heavy, slow to digest, and harder for your body to break down into usable nutrients. Cheese is dense in saturated fat, and though a little can be fine, too much can increase inflammation in aging tissues. When muscles are inflamed, they don't rebuild as effectively. You might feel this as stiffness, soreness, or slower recovery after even light activity. It's not that cheese causes harm directly, it's that the aging body processes its fats differently, making it harder to stay lean and energetic. Then there's sodium, an often overlooked issue. Many popular cheeses, like cheddar or feta, contain a surprising amount of salt. 1 ounce of cheddar alone can have nearly 200 milligrams, and most people eat far more than that. For older adults, extra sodium can increase water retention and make circulation less efficient, leaving you feeling puffy, tired, or weak. Now let's talk about absorption. As the National Institutes of Health explains, calcium absorption naturally decreases with age. especially from dairy sources. Combine that with reduced stomach acid and slower gut transit, and your body may not be absorbing as much calcium or protein from cheese as you think. Here's an example. George, 71, eats cheese every day, 2 slices with lunch, a sprinkle on dinner, plus milk at breakfast. Yet despite doing everything right, his doctor noticed he was losing muscle. A nutritionist later found that George was getting more calcium than he needed, but too little magnesium, potassium, and plant-based amino acids, all critical for keeping muscle strong and responsive. In other words, his diet had too much of one thing and not enough of another. Studies from Harvard School of Public Health and the Mayo Clinic confirm that relying mainly on dairy for protein may leave older adults deficient in the broader spectrum of nutrients that support muscle maintenance. Those missing pieces found in many non-dairy foods are what truly keep the body strong after 60C. So yes, cheese gives you calcium, but that's not the full story. Strong bones and muscles depend on balanced nutrition, including magnesium, plant protein, and minerals that help your cells absorb and use calcium properly. And here's where it gets interesting. There's a food that delivers all of this in one package. It's low in fat, high in digestible protein, and surprisingly gentle on the digestive system. Most people overlook it completely, yet research shows it supports both bone density and muscle recovery better than dairy. Stay with me because in the next section, we'll reveal this powerful food that quietly outperforms cheese for adults over 60. And why it may become your new daily essential. So what is this food that quietly outperforms cheese for adults over 60? It's tofu, a humble, soft, plant-based protein made from soybeans. And while it may not sound exciting at first, what happens inside your body after eating it is nothing short of remarkable. Tofu delivers something cheese can't. High-quality protein that's easier for older bodies to digest and absorb. Unlike dairy, tofu contains all 9 essential amino acids, yet it's naturally low in saturated fat and sodium. That means your muscles get the nourishment they need without the heaviness, water retention, or inflammation that often follow cheese-heavy diets. But it doesn't stop there. Tofu is also rich in magnesium, calcium when set with calcium sulfate, iron, and plant compounds called isoflavones, all nutrients that directly support muscle repair, bone strength, and hormonal balance in aging adults. These isoflavones mimic gentle forms of estrogen in the body, which can be particularly supportive for postmenopausal women who often face faster bone loss. According to research from Harvard School of Public Health, older adults who include plant-based proteins like tofu, lentils, or edamame several times a week tend to maintain stronger muscles, better balance, and lower inflammation than those who rely mainly on animal products. The Mayo Clinic also highlights that plant proteins can support heart health and circulation, 2 critical factors in preventing the fatigue and weakness that creep in with age. Now, let's look at this in real life. Eleanor, age 72, had been struggling with energy for years. She loved her cheese sandwiches and cream soups, believing she was fueling her bones. But she often felt bloated, stiff, and tired after meals. At her daughter's suggestion, she replaced half her dairy intake with tofu. Based meals, tofu stir-fry, soft tofu in soup, even blending silken tofu into smoothies. Within 6 weeks, Eleanor noticed something subtle but powerful. Her digestion felt smoother, her afternoon fatigue faded, and her legs felt steadier when walking. She hadn't added supplements or changed her medication, just this one food swap. Here's why it worked. Tofu's protein-to-calorie ratio is nearly perfect for older adults. A 3-ounce serving contains about 8 grams of protein with almost no cholesterol or saturated fat. But more importantly, the protein is more digestible, meaning your aging muscles can actually use it to rebuild strength. And tofu isn't just a muscle food, it's also alkaline forming, which helps balance the acidity that often comes from heavy meat and cheese consumption. That's important, because a more alkaline diet can reduce calcium, Loss from bones, another hidden advantage for those over 60. You might wonder, but doesn't soy affect hormones? That's a common fear. Yet decades of scientific reviews, including studies from the National Institutes of Health, have found that moderate soy intake is safe and beneficial for both men and women, especially when eaten as a whole food like tofu, rather than a processed supplement. So, if you've been leaning on cheese to protect your bones and muscles, tofu may be the missing link. It feeds your strength from the inside out, lighter, cleaner, and perfectly tuned for how your body works after 60 days. And the best part, you don't have to give up cheese entirely. The secret is balance letting. Tofu and other plant proteins take the lead, while cheese becomes the occasional treat. In the next section, we'll explore how to use tofu the right way, how much to eat, the easiest ways to prepare it, and how to pair it with nutrients that make it even more powerful for strength, energy, and independence after 60 pasu. Once you understand why tofu outperforms cheese for strength after 60 days, the next step is knowing how to make it work for you. Because when used correctly, this simple food can help rebuild muscle, improve balance, and sustain energy, all without relying on heavy dairy or complex diets. Let's start with the foundation: consistency over quantity. The secret to maintaining muscle after 60 isn't eating large amounts of protein at once. It's giving your body small, steady doses throughout the day. Research from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health shows that adults who consume moderate portions of high-quality protein at each meal rather than a single protein-heavy dinner preserve lean muscle mass far more effectively. For most adults, 1/2 to 1 cup of tofu, 2 to 4 times per week, is enough to make a noticeable difference in strength and stamina. That's roughly the size of your palm, not overwhelming, but powerfully effective when used regularly. Next comes nutrient synergy, the key to turning tofu's protein into usable muscle fuel. Protein doesn't work alone. Your body needs vitamins and minerals that help unlock, transport, and use that protein at the cellular level. Here's what that looks like in practice. Vitamin D and B12 help muscle cells repair and keep your nervous system alert. Combine tofu with fortified plant milk, or add a small serving of salmon or eggs if you eat animal products. Vitamin C enhances the absorption of iron from tofu. Add bright-colored vegetables like bell peppers, broccoli, or a squeeze of lemon juice. Magnesium and potassium, found in spinach, avocados, and bananas, support hydration and muscle contraction, helping prevent cramps and fatigue. Think of tofu as the strong foundation of your house, and these nutrients as the walls and beams that hold it together. Without them, the structure weakens. Now let's talk about digestion, one of the most overlooked aspects of senior nutrition. After 60, your stomach produces less acid and fewer enzymes. This slows the breakdown of dense foods, especially those high in fat or lactose like cheese. Tofu, however, is naturally gentle. It requires minimal digestive effort, is low in fat, and doesn't trigger bloating or heaviness. Soft or silken tofu is especially ideal for older adults. It blends easily into soups, stews, or smoothies and can even replace part of your morning yogurt. The result: more protein with less digestive stress. Here's how this looks in a real-world daily plan. Breakfast: silken tofu smoothie with spinach, banana, berries, and fortified soy milk. Lunch: tofu and vegetable stir-fry in olive oil, served with quinoa or brown rice. Dinner: warm tofu and mushroom soup with leafy greens, a drizzle of sesame oil, and a side of sweet potato. Simple, nourishing, balanced. Every meal supplies protein your body can use without overloading your system, and you don't have to abandon cheese entirely. A sustainable diet isn't about restriction, it's about balance. Let tofu take the lead role in your meals, and let cheese become the accent, not the main act. This single shift reduces your intake of saturated fats and sodium while supporting smoother digestion, better circulation, and lighter, steadier energy. But the most powerful transformation isn't just physical, it's emotional. Many people in their 60s and 70s quietly fear that weakness means it's too late to get strong again. Yet the science says otherwise. The Mayo Clinic confirms that older adults can rebuild strength at any age when they combine digestible protein, light movement, and balanced nutrients. When you start feeding your body usable fuel like tofu, your cells respond within weeks. Muscles recover faster. Energy lasts longer. Movements feel smoother. You start walking a little taller, climbing stairs without hesitation, waking up with clarity and calm energy instead of morning stiffness. That's the quiet power of nourishment that truly fits your age. It's not about chasing youth. It's about supporting vitality. And tofu, humble as it seems, is one of the most efficient, affordable, and senior-friendly ways to do it. It's the food that works with your body, not against it. In the next section, we'll step back and look at the bigger picture, how this small daily choice can shape not just your strength, but also your independence, mood, and long-term vitality well into your 70s and beyond. By now, you've seen how a simple shift replacing some of your cheese with tofu can bring real, physical changes. But what's truly remarkable is how this single change reaches far beyond muscles and bones. It touches every part of how you age your energy, your focus, even your independence. Because staying strong after 60 isn't only about what you eat. It's about how the right foods help your entire body work together. Think of your body as an orchestra. When you were younger, every section, your digestion, circulation, hormones, and brain played in perfect rhythm. But with age, a few instruments start to fall out of tune. Digestion slows. Recovery takes longer. Energy dips by mid-afternoon. The music isn't gone. It's just not as harmonious as before. That's where the right nutrition brings back the rhythm. Tofu's gentle protein doesn't just feed your muscles, it supports your whole system. The magnesium helps your heart maintain a steady beat. The amino acids rebuild tissues that keep you mobile and confident. The phytonutrients calm inflammation, easing the stiffness that can steal away energy. This combination is what experts call metabolic support. The ability to help your cells work efficiently, even as the years advance. And here's something fascinating. Research from the Harvard Aging Study found that older adults who replaced just 2 servings of animal protein each week with plant-based options like tofu had significantly better physical function, balance, and cognitive focus over a 12-year span. The benefits weren't dramatic overnight. They were quiet, steady, and lasting. It's the kind of progress you feel in everyday life. You notice you're standing longer when cooking. You walk a little farther without getting winded. You sleep better because your body isn't working overtime to digest heavy, high-fat meals. And slowly, that confidence returns the feeling that you're still in control of your health, your energy, your independence. Here's the truth most people never hear. Aging strong isn't about perfection. It's not about strict diets or miracle supplements. It's about making small, smart choices that fit your real life, choices that work with your body instead of against it. Tofu happens to be one of those choices. It's affordable, versatile, and senior-friendly. Whether blended into soups, cooked with vegetables, or enjoyed with your favorite sauce, it quietly nourishes your muscles, bones, and energy every single day. And it doesn't stop there. When you add other vitality foods like leafy greens, beans, nuts, berries, and omega-rich fish, you create a nutrient network that protects your heart, stabilizes blood sugar, and supports sharper thinking. It's the same principle researchers at the Mayo Clinic describe as nutritional synergy. The idea that foods don't just add benefits, they multiply each other's effects. So the real secret isn't cheese versus tofu. It's understanding that your body, at this stage of life, thrives on balance, not excess, on nourishment, not restriction, on simple, consistent care. And that's the bigger picture of aging. Strong, the quiet strength that builds not just in your muscles, but in your mindset. Because when you eat in a way that respects your age and your biology, you don't just live longer, you live better. So, here's the bottom line. Staying strong after 60 isn't about eating more cheese or chasing calcium. It's about giving your body what it can actually use. Tofu, with its digestible protein, magnesium, and plant compounds, does what cheese can't. It nourishes your muscles, supports your bones, and keeps your energy steady without the heaviness or inflammation that come with age. Strength, balance, and vitality aren't lost with time. They're rebuilt through small, consistent choices that honor your changing body. So next time you reach for cheese, try swapping in tofu instead. Your muscles, your heart, and your future self will thank you. If you found this video helpful, give it a like. Share it with a friend over 60 chul, and comment yes if you're ready to stay strong the smart way. And as always, consult your healthcare provider if you have any concerns.